Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankara-Acharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Jnananandamayan Devam Nirmalasphatiकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे. ओम श्री हयग्रीवाय नमः. ओम श्री वल्लभा समेत श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः. We were looking at the nirvishesha Atma-nirUpaNam. So in this, when the Vishishtadvaitins are saying that there is no nirvishesha Atma or nirvishesha Vastu itself, they don't accept any Vastu as nirvishesha. So nirvishesham Vastu nasti eva, like this they say. So there we ask, when you say it is not there, how, on what basis you are saying this? So you are saying that because it is not there, you are negating it, or because it is there, you are negating it. Because if Brahman, there is no nirvisheshatvam in Brahman, if you are saying, if nirvisheshatvam is anyway not there, there is no need to negate it. But if nirvishesham is there and you are negating it also, you cannot do that. Correct? If it is really there also, you cannot negate it. If it is not at all there also, you need not negate it. So on what basis you are saying that nirvisheshatvam is not there in Brahman or in any Vastu? If we ask that, then they have to say that we are negating it because some people think that it is nirvishesha. Correct? Means there is a Bhranti. Unless there is a Bhranti Siddha, there is no avasara or context to negate anything. So only if there is a possibility of erroneous cognition, negation itself is required. So he establishes that first. And then says that if you say that nirvishesha Brahman is Bhranti, then there is no pramana for that. In fact, the pramana is saying the opposite, correct? If you read the Vedanta, if you read the Upanishad, it is very clear that Dvaita alone is always Pandita. Means Dvaita is negated, and Dvaita is always said with words like Iva, Yatra Dvaitam Iva Pashyati, or it is said that Udaramantaram Kurute Athatasya Bhayam Bhavati. So all these things are very clear in the Upanishad. Neha Nanasti Kinchana also is there. Yaiha Nana Eva Pashyati. So one who sees multiplicity here goes from death to death. All these things are there. Therefore, we have to only conclude that Dvaita is Brahma, and there is a context to negate Dvaita, but there is nowhere it is said that Nirvishesham Brahma iti jnanam is Brahma, and therefore it has to be negated. So whatever you say is not correct. In fact, Savisheshatvam is Brahma. That is what we said. So like this, in this paragraph, this one paragraph only, the Nirvishesha-Atma-nirUpaNam was done. And now continuing, he goes into more detail, the author, to negate whatever Ramanuja is saying about Savisheshatva. Okay, that everything is only Savishesha. All the Vastus, all the entities are always qualified with some qualities. That is what they are claiming. That is their Siddhanta. So whatever is accepted by Ramanuja, Ramanuja Abhyupakata Savisheshatva Nirakaranam. So we are now negating whatever is propounded by Ramanuja, that all the things are always Savishesha. Okay. All entities are qualified with some qualification. There is no entity which is devoid of all qualities. Whatever they are saying in this manner, we are going to negate that. In fact, he is going to negate similar to what we saw already, correct? That briefly we saw the Panchadashi verses in the last class, I think. So he is going to do something similar here, but in a more detailed manner. Let us see that. Nanu satyam jnanam anantam brahma ityadi श्रुतेः तु अभिमते श्रुतेः त्वद् अभिमते निर्विशेषे चिन्मात्रे ब्रह्मणि एव सत्यत्वादि विशेष सद्भावात् कथं ब्रह्मणः निर्विशेषत्वम् इति चेत्. Okay, so now Ramanujadayah, they are asking this question to us, correct? So the Shruti is clearly saying Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So Brahman has all these Visheshanas. But in your mata, Tvad Abhimate, in your opinion or in your Siddhanta, what are you saying? All these Satyam Jnanam Anantam, these are all there in Nirvishesham Brahma, which is Chinmatram, which is consciousness alone. Now you are saying Satyam, at least Jnanam you live. Jnanam can be taken as Chinmatra, but Satyam and Satyatvam, Anantatvam, or even Jnanam also, they can take it as a Visheshana. So Satyatva, Sattva or Satyatva, Anantatvadi only he is saying. Because Chinmatra, when you say Jnanam can be taken as Chinmatra. So that's not a problem. But still, the Chinmatra Brahman has qualities like being Satya, being Ananta, correct? Limitlessness itself is a quality. And existence or being real itself is a quality, let us say. So Satyatva, Anantatva, the Vishesha Sadbhava. So these Visheshas are there. Even if you say Brahman is Chinmatram, and so how can you say Katham Brahmanaha Nirvisheshatvam iti chet? So if you ask like that, how Brahman can be Nirvishesha without any qualities? Means what do we say? Then we say Uchyate. So we are now asking you, what Kim Visheshaha? Savisheshe Vastuni Vartate Uta Nirvisheshe. So okay, so first let us start some basic analysis. When you say something is Savishesha, that means it has Vishesha. A qualified entity has qualification. That qualification or quality, let us say, it is there in an entity which is already Savishesha, means already qualified, or that which has no qualities, correct? Which is devoid of qualities. So when you say something is qualified, there has to be a quality. Now that quality is there in an entity which is already having quality or which is devoid of qualities. That is what he is asking now here. So Visheshaha Savisheshe Vastuni Vartate is first question. So is it there? Is the quality there in an entity which is already having quality, or Nirvisheshe, which is devoid of all qualities? No, not Dvitiyaha. The second one you cannot say. You cannot say that qualities are there in a Vastu which is devoid of all qualities, means it is Vyaghata because it is contradictory. So then you have to say first one. But even that is a problem. Why? Na Adhyaha, you cannot also say the first. Why? Savisheshe Visheshaha Vartate Ityatra Samasta Padavarti Visheshaha Kim Vyasta Visheshat Bhinnaha Uta Abhinnaha. Okay, now we are asking another question. So if you say quality is there in an entity which is already having quality, now the Savishesha, the entity with quality, correct? Visheshena Saha Vartate, that is the Samasta Pada. Correct? It is a Samasa, it is a compound, means the one which is already having quality. Savishesha means. Now that Vishesha in the Savishesha, correct? Samasta Padavarti Visheshaha, Kim Vyasta Visheshat Bhinnaha Uta Abhinnaha. So you are saying quality is there in an entity with quality. Now two qualities are there. Now these two qualities you are talking about, they are the same or are they different? Correct? So that is the next question. So Bhinnaha Uta Abhinnaha means Antye, if you say it is Abhinna, the same quality is already there in the entity which is qualified by the quality. It is like saying partness is there in part. Okay, this is what Nayayika claims. It's very weird. But then when you say a part, what is a part? Part is an entity with partners, correct? So if you say partners is already there in an entity with partners, it doesn't make any sense. Correct? It is called Atma-Shraya. Correct? Self, something is there in itself. So you cannot say partners is there in entity which is already having partners. So that is, then it will go into Atma-Shraya dosha. That means it is abhinna. So the partners is there in an entity with partners, means both are partners only, correct? And it is abhinna. So that is the second antya option. Antya means this is the second option. Na antyaha. But you cannot say that. Why? It will become Atma Shraya dosha. But if you say it is different, no, partners is there in an entity which is having other qualities, let us say, but not partners, then but anyway, if it is having, you are saying it is not there, at least you are not accepting that it is abhinna, means it is bhinna. Now those existing qualities, again we have to ask about them, correct? Are they there in a savishesha vastu or a nirvishesha vastu? Again the same question will come, correct? Adye bhinnasya visheshaha kim savisheshe vartate uta nirvisheshe. So if you say partners is there in an entity which does not have partners but some other qualities, then those qualities themselves are there in a savishesha vastu, in an entity which is having qualities, or in an entity which is devoid of all qualities. So the first question only we have to go back. So once we go back to that first question, again here the same problem will come, correct? You cannot say it is in nirvishesha. So na antyaha vyaghata. So you have to go to the first one. Adye. First option is what? Again you have to say whatever that other quality that also is there in a vastu which is already having qualities. Means then the same kind of questions we will ask. Correct? Adye such a tritiya samasta padavarti visheshaha. Okay. Kim adyat vyasta visheshat bhinnaha uta abhinna. So the third quality which we are now talking about, is it same or different from partners? Means either, again the same problem will come, correct? If you say it is same, then it will become anyonya ashraya. Okay. So it is all mutual dependency is going to come, because this partners depends on the part depends on partners depends on part, something like that. You will have anyonya ashraya, mutual dependence will come. In fact, they talk something like that only in their Siddhanta. That also will come later, we'll see. Okay. So if it is the same, if you say the second part depends on the third part or third entity, because we are talking about three entities now, correct? So initially there is an entity, what we call part. Now from that we separate partners and ask where is that entity. Then you say that it is there in an entity, but that also has qualities, but it is not partners. Then okay, if that has qualities, those qualities are there in which entity if I ask, then again you are saying it is there in a third entity which has qualities, but that quality is same as the partners. If you say the first one, then it becomes anyonya ashraya, because the second part depends on the first one and first depends on the second, really, because the third is the same as first, correct? So that way it is anyonya ashraya, mutual dependence is the problem. Or if you say adye, if it is bhinna, then you are going to go, again we'll ask the same question, correct? So adye such a bhinnaha visheshaha kim savisheshe vartate uta nirvisheshe. Again same question we'll ask. If you say again it is, you cannot say nirvishesha because it will become vyaghata. If you say again it is savishesha, then it is going to, again the same question we'll ask. Okay, adye such a tritiya samasta padavarti visheshaha kim adya Vyasta visheshat bhinna uta abhinna. Again, if it is the same or different, if you say it is the same, then circularity also will come now. Otherwise, instead of mutual dependence, you will have three things now because the four entities we are talking about going in circle. So if you say it is abhinna, antye chakrakam, circularity, or adye, if you say bhinna, again same question we'll ask whether it is there in the savishesha or nirvishesha. Again, antya, if you cannot say nirvishesha, again it is vyaghata only. It is contradiction. If you say the first one, then it is like it is infinite regress, correct? Anavastha. So like this, we are showing that if you say that Visheshana is there in Savishesha Vastu, all these doshas are coming. Atma Shreya dosha, Anyonya Shreya dosha, Chakraka, Anavastha. Correct? All four are there. So then on what basis you are saying this? So Tathacha, so this being the case, Nityatvadi Visheshavati, Nityatvadi Vishesha Rahite va Brahmani, Nityatwadi Visheshaha Santi iti Vaktum Ashakyatvat Brahmani Savisheshatvasya Bhranti Siddhatvat Nirvishesha Brahma Siddhihi iti. So what are we now concluding? This being the case, whatever you are saying Nityatwadi Visheshas are, you are saying Nityatwadi are Visheshas, really correct. We in fact don't say they are Visheshas. We say that they are Lakshanas. Okay. But anyway, so you are saying they are all qualities, Nityam, Anantam, etc. Even Ananda is a quality, correct? Vijnanam, Anandam, Brahma also is there. So all these things are qualities, but according to you, you cannot say they are there in Brahman which do not have all these qualities, correct? Nityatvadi Vishesha Rahiteva Brahmani, Nityatvadi Visheshaha Santi iti, Vaktum Ashakyatva. You cannot say that they are there according to your Siddhanta. And so if you say, still if you say that it is Savishesha, means that Savisheshatvam itself must be erroneous cognition only. Correct? You cannot establish the Savisheshatvam in Savishesha also, nor you can say it is there in Nirvishesha. But then finally you have to say it is there in Nirvishesha only. If you say like that, then it becomes that the Savisheshatvam which you are seeing in Nirvishesha Brahman has to be Bhranti, and that is what is confirmed by the Shruti also anyway. Correct? So that being the case, if Savisheshatvam becomes Bhranti, erroneous cognition, so any cognition of qualities and qualified entities are all erroneous only. Therefore, what it establishes that Brahman is Nirvishesha, Nirvishesha Brahma Siddhihi. So that is established very clearly. Okay. Now, further, in fact, we ask one more question also. Okay. You are talking about qualities themselves, correct? What about those qualities? Are they Savishesha or Nirvishesha? Correct? Qualities themselves, in fact, in the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, even recently in our class, Bhashyakara says that once you go to the level of an Anu, correct? Even I think Nayayikas accept that you cannot say that the Paramanu, which is the smallest unit, in that there cannot be any more Vikalpa, correct? There cannot be any Vikalpa like there is a Vishesha and a Visheshya. This kind of divisions cannot be there because Paramanu is the smallest unit. It is like one quantum, correct? So at that level, even if you say Prithivi Paramanu and Prithivi is Gandhavati, that Gandhavatvam is not a dharma there. It's very Swarupa. That's how you can say. At the Paramanu level, there cannot be a Gandha Vishesha sitting on some other entity. Okay, because you cannot, the Paramanu is such a small, or it is at the quantum level, correct? You cannot further divide it. So there cannot be any divisions or Vikalpa there. So even if you call it Gandhavati, that Gandhavatvam is basically like Raho Shiravat only. The Gandhavatvam of the Prithvi Paramanu is really, it is Swarupa. It is not really a Vishesha. Like this, he argues this, and I think the Nayayikas also accept that actually. So, like that, you have to say that the Visheshana itself, you are talking about Visheshanas, they themselves are Savishesha or Nirvishesha. If you ask, you have to say that they are Nirvishesha, in fact. Right? Like I said. So he is asking that question. Apicha Nityatvadeyaha Visheshaha Kim Savisheshaha Uda Nirvishesha. The Visheshanas themselves, the qualities themselves are qualified, or they are like not qualified entities. Means again, according to them, what Antye, if you say Visheshas themselves are Nirvishesha, it is again problem. Correct? Antye Nirvishesha Vastu Siddhihi Pariharya. So if you say they are Nirvishesha, then you cannot say that there is nothing called Nirvishesha. Correct? The nirvishesha vastu will be established. You cannot stop it. It is apariharya. Okay. But if you say adye, if you say it is avishesha, then the same, all those same doshas will come into the picture. The atma ashraya, anyonya ashraya, chakraka, anavastha. Okay. But Bellangonda is very thorough. So he doesn't, he again asks all those questions. So he says what? Adye nityatwadi visheshagata visheshaha kim savisheshaha uta nirvisheshaha. So again, the same question comes. It is Savishesha means there are two Visheshas. So then you have to ask. So if you say it is there in Nirvishesham, you cannot say again, because then Nirvishesha Vastu Siddhi will happen. If you again say it is Savishesha only, Adye Nityatvadi Vishesha Gata Visheshaha Kim Savisheshaha Uta Nirvishesha. Again the same question we will ask. Again you cannot say it is Nirvishesha. If you say again the first one means Anavastha only, correct? So all this Atmashraya, Anyonyashraya, Chakraka, Anavastha, all these doshas will come even in this case. So, therefore, what finally? Yacha Atra Uttam. Okay, now he is going to whatever is said in Shuta Prakashika. So, Yacha Atra Uttam, Shuta Prakashikayam, Dharmena Dharmi Savisheshaha, Dharmina cha Dharmaha Savisheshaha. Okay, so they are saying, like, see, even we say correct in Vyavahara also, this Anyonya Ashraya is there in many cases. How? In fact, there is a Madhu Brahmana in Vridarneka. It talks about this only. What is Madhu? Madhu means mutual dependence is called Madhu by the Upanishad. Okay. But what the Upanishad points out there is if there is any mutual dependence, the mutual dependence itself can come into existence only if there is an independently existing reality other than the mutually dependent things. Correct? That is the beauty. So he is saying Dharmena Dharmi Savishesha. So the dharmi is savishesha because of the dharma, and dharma is savishesha because of the dharmi. Correct? This is what they are saying. So if you say like this also, they are talking about mutual dependence only basically, but then they both have to be depending on an independent reality for this mutual dependence to come into existence. Which is Brahman, we have to say, which itself is Nirvishesha then. Correct? So that is what they have to accept anyway. But they don't accept that. They stop with this mutual dependence only. So now we ask, Kasya chit dharma bhutam, dharmi bhutam va, yenna bhavati, tat pramana shunyamiti tadapi asate. So, Kasya chit dharma bhutam, dharmi bhutam va, yenna bhavati, he is asking. Okay. So, this dharma bhuta means that which has, that which is in the form of a quality, or that which is in the form of the qualified. So these two cannot be there. That is what we are saying. If this mutual dependence has to be there, this mutual dependence itself has to be there on something which is neither dharmi nor dharma. Correct? But such a thing is not at all there, they are saying. Tat pramana shunyam. There cannot be anything which is neither dharmi nor dharma, according to them. They are very happy to say that dharma itself is savishesha because of the dharmi, and dharmi is savishesha because of the dharma, and there is no other vastu which is other than being a dharmi or dharma. That is their siddhanta. There is no pramana for that, or even if you claim like that, it is only shunya. They will say you are no shunyavadi, you are prachanna bauddha and all that. Okay, so that pramana shunyam. So kasyachit dharma bhutam dharmi bhutam va yenna bhavati. So if you say that there is something there which is neither dharmi bhuta, neither in the form of a quality nor in the form of a qualified entity, that has no pramana, that has no, it cannot be established by any valid means of knowledge. Like this, they are saying that we do not accept. We say tadapi asat, that is not true. Why? So we'll show that. Kim dharmaha, dharmini, vartamana san. Okay, we are now asking a question. This dharma, where is this dharma? You are talking about a dharma which is becoming savishesha due to the dharmi. And the dharmi which is becoming savishesha due to the dharma. Now this dharma, where is it? Is it there in the dharmi or it is outside the dharmi? It is not there in the dharmi. Being in the dharmi, then it is making the dharmi savishesha, or not being in the dharmi, it is making the dharmi savishesha. This is the first question. So किं धर्मः धर्मिणी वर्तमानः सन् स्वस्य धर्मिणः वा सविशेषत्वं सम्पादयति उत अधर्मिणी. So antya na antya vyaghatat. You cannot say it is outside. If it does not have any connection with the dharmi sambandha itself, then how can it make the dharmi savishesha? So that is contradictory. So the second antya option, second option is cannot be there. Then you have to say that dharma is there in the dharmi. Being in the dharmi only, it is making it savishesha. Correct? But even that is a problem. So na adhyaha. Why? Dharmaha dharmini vartate iti vakye dharmin shabdagata dharmaha kim pratamanta dharmat binna uta abhinna. So now we are going back to the same line of questioning which we did already. Correct? If you say the dharma is already there in the dharmi and being in the dharmi only is making the dharmi savishesha, then what about the dharmi? The dharma shabda in the dharmi itself, what does it mean really then? That dharma, is it different from the dharma which you are talking, the second dharma, or it is the same? If you say it is the same, it is atma shraya again. Correct? So antye atma shraya adye, if you say it is no, it is different, then prag uktaritya anyonya ashrayadi doshaha uhyaha. If you say it is different, again same problems. Anyonya ashraya chakrakam anavata etc. will come automatically. We can deduce that. So therefore what tatha dharminaha dharma iti api yuktam ayuktam kim dharmin shabdakatah katah dharmah pratamant dharmat bhinna uta bhinnaha. Okay, similarly the dharma is made savishesha by dharmi, if you say. Correct? Dharma is being made savishesha by dharmi. Even there you have to say that again the dharma and dharmi are together or not. You have to say they are there together only. If they are not having any sambandha, the dharmin also cannot make the dharma savishesha. And if you questions will ask, correct? The dharma in the dharmi, is it separate from the second dharma or it is the same? Okay. Like this, if we ask, then same problems will come, correct? So, dharmin shabdagataha dharmaha प्रथमांत धर्मात् भिन्न उत अभिन्नः आद्ये अन्योन्य आश्रयादया पूर्ववद् ऊह्याः. So if you say it is abhinna again atmashraya, it is bhinna means all these other doshas are coming anyonya ashraya chakraka anavastha and dvitiye atmashraya. So both same way. So evam in this manner what dharmasya dharmi ityatrapi bodhavyam. So in both cases, same problems are there. That when you say the dharma is made savishesha by the dharmi, same problems. Dharmi is made savishesha by the dharma, same problems. All these logical fallacies are coming up in both cases. Therefore, what apicha yasya यो धर्मः इति उच्यते तस्य तस्मात् विवेचने कृते सति स निर्धर्मः एव वस्तु सिद्धिः. So therefore, if we analyze, correct? If you analyze, if you discriminate, what we have to say that whatever dharma is there in some dharmi, when you analyze a vastu, partners is there in clay, we have to say, correct? But the clay, in your understanding of clay, there is no partners or anything. Understand that. That's why it is only nama rupa. In your understanding of clay, there need not be any partners. But partners, when you talk about part, what is there is really clay only. Without cognizing the clay, you cannot even cognize the part, correct? So the clay is very much there. If you touch it, it is clay. If you weigh it, it is the weight of the clay. If you see it, you are actually seeing clay. Then what is part? Part. So the partners, when we talk about partners, you have to say partners is in clay. And in your understanding of clay, there is no partners really. Is it clear? So if I have to teach you what is clay, I don't have to talk about any partners or anything. But the part itself is of clay, correct? If there is a clay part, you cannot even cognize the clay part without cognizing the clay. And if you touch the clay part, you are touching the clay. If you weigh the clay part, you are weighing the clay. So what is there really is clay alone. Clay alone is Satyam. Part is really Vacharambanam Vikara. It is only a modification. It is only a Nama Rupa. And the relationship between Satyam and Mithya, correct? Since it's only a Nama Rupa and it doesn't have an existence of its own, it is Mithya, we say. The Mithya part, what relationship can it have with its Karana, which is Satyam? At least relatively, the Karana is Satyam, correct? With reference to the part, A is Satyam. So Mritika ityeva Satyam, like this, Shruti also is saying. So what is the relationship between Mithya and Satyam if we say, if you see, it is always Adhyasika only, it is only superimposition. So the Adhyasika Sambandha alone you can say between the Nama Rupa, which is Karya, and the Karana, which is Satya. So this kind of analysis you can do. That is the Vivechana he is talking about here. The discriminatory analysis, if you do that, correct, what you will always see is whatever dharma, so which is there in some entity you say, correct? So, yasya yo dharmaha iti uchyate, tasya tasmad vivechane. So, you say that something has some quality. Now, when you analyze that entity, what will you arrive at? You will say that that quality is there in a vastu which does not have that quality really, correct? The quality is perceived, we have to say, or the quality appears in an entity which really does not have that quality. That nirundharmakaha eva avashishyate. So it is there without that quality only, in fact. So now he is actually doing the analysis further. He says, Tatahi, what shuklat ghata shukle gune pritak krite sati buddhya nirguna eva gataha shishyate. So even if you take white part, the whiteness you can remove, correct? In your understanding, and what remains there is a part which really does not have that white guna, correct? So a part which is not white only has the white quality. Later on, the guna, you have to say. The part has kambu griva, etc. We say, correct, like a tubular neck, etc. So even that akara, when you look at the akara or the form, also you can mentally separate it, and it's there in a vastu like clay, which is not really having that form or any form, correct? In your understanding of clay, you don't understand it in any form, whether it is a pot or a plate or something else, correct? Or a cup also. All of this, you have to say that whether a guna also has to be there in a nirguna vastu. Akara has to be there in a nirakara vastu. Like this only you have to arrive at. You cannot arrive at in any other way, and then you have to say guna and akara. The quality and form, etc., are all nothing but they are all superimposed. Their connection is only adhyasika. Okay. So tasmat cha mridrupat nirakarat mridaha pritak karane nirvishesham sanmatrameva vastu avashishyate iti. Okay, further, even if you say that pot is clay, then what about clay? Like Pujya Swamiji, my guru, used to say, it is all namni namani. Namni namani. Names in names, names in names. It goes on like that only. This entire Jagat, when you start analyzing it, because clay means you have to further say it is some silica molecules. Then silica molecules means you have to say they are different atoms. Atoms, again, you have to say they are all proton, neutron, electron, subatomic particles. Like this, you have to keep on going. Okay, there is no end. Finally, what is the end? Sanmatram. Existence alone. That Sadvastu is yourself, really speaking. Correct? It is Brahman and it is yourself. That Sadvastu alone remains Sanmatram. In fact, this they are able to say. See, I always admire our Advaita Acharyas because they were able to appreciate this Sanmatratvam. But it is even easier for us now with all the modern science even talking about that. Correct? Because modern science also then says finally they are saying that there has to be an observer who has to collapse all this quantum system. Means that observer is it comes back to you only, correct? Observer can only be a Chaitanya Vastu. Although the scientists do not have any consensus on what that observer is. But definitely it is coming back to the Sadvastu, which is yourself actually, which is Chinmatram again. So it's all very clear. So he says it is all only Sanmatram avashishyate. So when you further analyze even the Mrit, finally what? You can keep on doing the same kind of analysis. Only nirvishesham sanmatrameva vastu avashishyate, which is Brahman, which is Atma. In fact, it is nothing other than this Brahmatma. You have to end up there only. Therefore, what tatacha tataha ayam iti anubhavaha eva nirvishesha vastu sadbhave pramanam iti siddham. So he is now establishing beautifully. He says that even saying any vastu, this is what, etc., that anubhava itself has to point to only the nirvishesha vastu, correct? That itself now becomes a pramana for establishing that the partness is there in a non-part, which is clay. And clayness is there in a non-clay, which is silica molecule. Silica molecule is there in a non-silica molecule, which is atom. Atom is there in a non-atom, which is proton, electron, neutron. Like that. And proton, electron, neutron also is there in a non-particle, which is observer. Like this, you can keep on going, correct? So, even the Ghatam, this is part, if you analyze that, finally you have to arrive at only Nirvishesha Vastu, and that itself is the Pramana for that. You don't need any other Pramana, in fact. Although Sutti also comes in aid, really speaking. So, Kincha Dharme Jnate Satyeva Etat Dharmavan Premiti Dharmik Jnanam Jayate Dharmini Jnate Satyeva Asya Dharmini धर्मिणः अयं धर्मः इति धर्मज्ञानं जायते इति अन्योन्य आश्रयात् निर्धर्मक वस्तु सिद्धिः. So what do we say finally? See, to say something is a dharmi, you have to first know the dharma. Correct? Without knowing the quality, you cannot say this is qualified. And without knowing the qualified vastu, you cannot say this is a quality. Correct? There is a mutual dependence there. The qualified depends on quality. In fact, that's what Sutta Prakashikakara also has said. Correct? Quality depends on the qualified. Qualified depends on the quality. Means this Anyonya Ashraya is there. And whenever there is an Anyonya Ashraya, we say Shruti Praman also is there for that in Madhu Brahmana, that it has to depend on a third independent entity, which is independent of these mutual dependencies. In this case, that has to be the Nirdharmaka Vastu. So even when you look at this Anyonya Ashraya also, the Nirdharmaka Vastu is established. So like this, we can see that it's very clear. And okay, we'll continue this in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
Okay.
Thank you.